And here is the Writer's Almanac for Monday. It's the 6th of April, 2020.
It's the birthday of the Shoshone woman Sacagawea, born in Idaho sometime around 1789. Kidnapped at the age of 10 by the Hidatsa tribe, sold into slavery, bought by a French-Canadian trapper who made her one of his two wives. And when Lewis and Clark hired him to guide them to the Pacific, Sacagawea was part of the package. She was a teenager, she had a 2-month-old baby on her back, and she could speak half a dozen Indian languages. She also knew which plants were edible. And when Indian tribes saw the Lewis and Clark expedition approaching, and they saw there was a woman with a baby, the Indians assumed they were peaceful, and this saved Lewis and Clark a lot of trouble. When the trip was over, Sacagawea received nothing for all of her work. She died in 1812 of a fever at the age of 23, and 8 months later, William Clark legally adopted her 2 children, Jean-Baptiste and Lisette. It's the birthday of Merle Haggard, born Bakersfield, California, 1937. And it was on this day in 1895 Oscar Wilde was arrested in room 118 of the Cadogan Hotel in London for gross indecency for sodomy. He was sentenced to 2 years of hard labor, slept on a wooden plank. For the first several months he was not allowed writing utensils or paper, and when he finally got them, he wrote his famous poem, The Ballad of Reading Jail.
Here's a poem for today by Julie Danho, The Best Chocolate Chip Cookie in New York City. In case there's a line, I show up at 7, but the man at the counter says the cookies won't be ready until 11, and by then I'll be on the train nearly halfway back to Providence. He and the dozen people behind me are waiting, so I quickly choose a ham croissant and a blueberry muffin, glittering like a hotel lobby chandelier. The shop's a dab of yellow on the block. It's only seats along the front window where I sit and look at bleary people stopped at the bodega across the street, touching apples and mangoes until they find the ones most untouched. With my first bite, the croissant comes undone, its shawl falling to the floor. I break off the peak of the muffin and hear the sugar overfill the valleys of my back teeth. I'm trying not to think about how it must taste, the best chocolate chip cookie in New York City. How big, how warm, how it would have collapsed in my mouth. Once before cell phones, before the days when cars couldn't linger outside the airport doors, my plane was delayed on the runway for 4 hours, and my husband, before he was my husband, waited for me in his cramped Plymouth, battered from years of lake-effect snow. He just waited, reading a book, turning on the car ever so often to listen to the radio. When I finally arrived, he was surprised that I thought he'd be gone. He said no one asked why he was there so long or what it was he was waiting for. A poem by Julie Danho, The Best Chocolate Chip Cookie in New York City, from her collection Those Who Keep Arriving, published by Silverfish Review Books and used by permission here on the Writer's Almanac. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.